Eskerrik asko, and thank you very much for your talk. Very interesting. I have a very straight question, which is, have you got any recommendations to do to the beekeepers regarding the spring trapping? Despite the fact of unspecificity of the species captured, is it effective in reducing the amount of nests, the number of nests around the apiaries, or is there a substantial reduction on the hunting pressure on the honeybees associated to this kind of trapping in springtime? Thank you.
Well, it's not clear the effect of trapping in the spring in reducing the number of nests, really. There is not evidence of this. We just recommend to limit, if they use it, to reduce the weeks of trapping until maybe the first week of activity of velutina, for example, in March, in April, maybe until the end of April, to reduce the impact in other vespid that start the activity later on than velutina. And also the rest of the diptera and insect is, as we observe in the graphs, has a progressive increase as the spring goes on. So we recommend just to limit, but would be better not to use because the results have not yet proved in reducing the number of nests. Well, I don't know if I have answered your question.
Very well. Just to give up the microphone, I'm worried about the use of insecticides, and like fipronil or cipronil. I'm not very familiar with them, but have you done a study on the environmental impact of the use of these substances freely? I mean, we leave them to the destiny of the hornets, so they are who distribute it around the environment. So, have you got any assessment of the ecological impact of this practice?
No, we have just the evidence of the reduction of hornets in front of the hives. So we understand that the bait is brought to the nest, but it is difficult to make such a study, environmental study of rest of fipronil around the areas of baiting. So unfortunately, we have not done this. We just observe that when Vespa velutina is hide in the apiaries, not other insects go to the baits, and also bees are not interested in this type of baits.
Sorry, Anna. So I was wondering. I remember that in Galicia we are very happy. Well, people is very happy because we have a increase in the population of honey buzzards. Do you expect an impact on animals who prey on or feed on the corpses of the hornets that have become infected? I mean, that would be the question. Sorry. Yeah.
If there are predators of baits, for example,
or what's the destiny, the final destiny of the corpses of the poisoned hornets who die? I mean, what's the destiny of the nest, of the whole of the nest?
Yeah.
And the individual larvae that are dead and they end up somewhere.
Yes, if the beekeepers can visualize and detect where is the place of the nest are removed. If not, it remains in the place, of course. Yes. Well, it's not the best option, Julio. We would like not to. Well, all of us would prefer not to use biocides, but until other more environmental friendly methods appear, well, it's just an option, and we would like to present the results of baits which had good effects for other best bits, as Jacqueline Bex presented yesterday, but it's the same results with this kind of approach with Vespa velutina. So the use of fipronil and other biocide to inactivate nest is not a good solution for the environment, of course.
Thank you, Anna. We have other questions. First, Fabrice.
Thanks, Hannah, for the talk. I have two questions. The first is, I think, the easier on your graph of your results, the last result you presented, with the three different groups of the effect of the biocides on the three different groups of, let's see, velutina loads. So you found an effect only on one, just before, the slide before. Yes, this one. So here you found a decrease of the number of hornets from the group that is the most under pressure, and not for the two other groups. Do you have an explanation why you only found so a reduction of the most important pressure and not on the other groups?
Yes, well, it is the same that in the next one. It's the same. When hornets are below 10 in the apiaries, there is not enough of bait carried out to the nest, so the effect on the nest population is lower than when an higher amount of hornets are in front of the hives. They bring a lot of bait to the nest, and the effect of the reduction is more noticeable and significant than when are a small amount of hornets.
Okay, so
yes.
So finally,
depends on the quantity of the bait that is consumed. So if there are a few hornets, the bait is not consumed in comparison when the amount is high.
Okay, so the effect reduces the load of hornets to a baseline that is not zero. It's still a baseline with the presence of hornets, but not high pressure. Okay. And the second question is a more tricky question, but I'm very curious about your feedback from your interaction with the beekeepers. How beekeepers feel. So they are now promoting the use of fipronils or biocides for their apiary. But on the other side, they want to banish neonicotinoids for the health of bees. So it's kind of paradox. How they feel? Do you have some conscientious beekeepers that think it's a paradox? And so I would like to have your opinion about that. How they feel to promoting the use of pesticide for bee health? Really.
Well, the beekeepers want to a short term a product to limit to mitigate the effect of velutina in the periods of September and October when the pressure is higher. So they don't really are very worried about the use of biocides, and they made everything they can to reduce Vespa velutina, and they do things that are uncontrolled. So yes, well, they are not very conscious about the environmental impact of these strategies, the spring trapping and whatever.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. My question sort of leads on from the questions of Fabrice. As this is now being evaluated by a commercial company, I suspect that they will want to register this product, and like with most insecticide products, there is a registration process that has to be followed, which will likely include an assessment of the environmental risk at some point as well. But it was interesting in Jacqueline Begg's presentation that where they have used poison baits, that there was a training program that they insisted on that operators had to go through, and that the use of the protein baits was restricted to certain areas of where there was a particularly large problem. So do you anticipate that part of the sort of registration of this product may require for there to be an insistence on training and also safeguards to ensure that the product is not just used all year round when it's not effective against Vespa velutina and could potentially be a bigger risk to the environment?
Yeah. Well, the Spanish Ministry of Agriculture gave a permission to the company to make all these trials, and I think the environmental impact was not included in this. Just the analysis of the amount, I think, the amount of fipronil in the nest. So. And with regard to the training of beekeepers, well, the permission I told you, the Spanish permission is one, and the other is the permission from the the Provincial Council of Guipúzcoa. And there is a protocol written that the beekeepers that use it knows the protocol they have to do and all the rules that the procedure involves, and is controlled by the administration. So the future of the use of this type of product would be under the control of the official entity in charge of environmental safety, and while the process is not so well, it's in progress. So maybe all these things you mentioned has to be thought and negotiate with the administration.
Thank you.
Sorry, I have not more information about that.
So we have other question of José Araña. No? So, okay, so other question of...
It's not a question.
Yes, Julia? José?
José Aranha, sorry. This is not a question, it's just a recommendation. We noticed that in northern Portugal, then when beekeepers use these Trojans, they can cause the sudden death of the hives from the neighbors' beekeepers, because when they put the biocide on the wasps and they release the wasps on the nature, the wasps goes to the neighboring beekeepers, land on the flying board or get in the hives and causes the sudden death of the colony. So we do not recommend the use of Trojans because it could be an abusive use of biocides in nature.
Yeah, I agree with you. We don't recommend the Trojan at all.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. We have two other questions, to the last questions.
Good morning, Anna. Annabella from INIAV. Only to know what is the bait that you are using as homemade bait?
For spring trapping, you mean?
In the traps? Okay, thank you.
For spring trapping is a mixture of beer, black beer.
Okay, okay. Beer? Because there are a lot of homemade baits and, sorry.
Yes, in the Basque Country, the beekeepers used a mixture of black beer, white wine, blueberry syrup.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Anna. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anna, just to finish up my questions, I have to say that I think that this kind of work you have done is essential to assess the actual utility of using these kind of methods, because I am aware that beekeepers are very fond of using biocides uncontrolled, in an uncontrolled manner, which is much more dangerous, which is actually very dangerous. So I just hope that we're able to assess the actual impact on the environment of these controlled methods that you are designing, and I hope you find a very safe and effective way of controlling the Vespa. And I was wondering, just to finish up, you mentioned about the amount of bait that is consumed by the hornets, but you didn't talk about the dose. I mean, can you modulate the concentration of the poison, and why didn't, or did you try changing or varying the concentrations of bait, of the poison in the bait? Just to, I mean, so that way, if you have very few hornets, they would be more loaded than, with poison than in other situations.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, we place 50 grams of bait per each 5 hives. Per 5 hives, we place 50 grams of bait, and the concentration of fipronil is always the same, is 0.01%.
So thank you so much, Anna. I know that we have other questions in the chat, but we have to respect the timings of the Congress, so sorry. In any case, thank you again, Anna.
Thank you to all.